let's dive into the psychic world of painting Thousand Suns. First things first, I started by priming it black and dry brushing the entire models in lead Belcher. By dry brushing it on there, it helps keep the recesses in the dark, which works well for the contrasts I use on top of them later. Then, to help highlight the edges and raised spots, I dry brushed some Runefang steel onto it. After giving it a lovely metallic base to work off of, I use a layer of achromatic blue all over the armor parts. Once the achromatic blue has settled into its mystic embrace, the next layer is none other than Achillean green. But heed my warning, the trim, sacred and pristine must evade its touch, for this contrast is thick, and it will definitely be seen. And after finishing that, it should look something like this. But now it's time to grab the Leviathan purple and begin the trim. Well, that's done, and it didn't even take that long. But now that we've got that part out of the way, I move on to the capes and drapes. And for the base of that, I use some Steel Legion Drab. Until I started making these videos, I had no idea how often I used this colour. To give it a bit more depth once it's dry, I apply a thin layer of reclaimed flesh shade, and I try to stick to the recesses. It should look something like this. After that, I opt to use Corvus Black to do a base layer on the weapon's parts that I don't want to show as metallic. And now that that's done, I just have to wait for my delivery from Greenstuff World. Hey, let's take a quick breather from the video while we wait for that delivery. I'm thrilled to share some news for both the channel and the 3D models I make. Whether you're looking for basing bits, pre-made bases, or maybe even terrain pieces, I got you covered over on Cult 3D. And also I roll out fresh packs weekly, so stay tuned for that. Also, if you're interested in supporting both the channel and the 3D models I make, consider supporting me over on Patreon. Not only will you be getting your name in the credits of the videos, but you'll also have access to a 10% discount from all the 3D models I make. And I also hope to include you all in the future on content decisions, and also 3D models. Alright, let's get back into the video. But now it's time for a little tricky part. I want to make the engravings in the weapons stand out a bit more, so I decided to use a mix of Greenstuff World's acrylic and intensity ink for this. As the ink is thinner, it makes it a lot easier to work into the recesses. But if you're anything like me and have some shaky hands, sometimes it's easy to just use some of the ink to get it into the rough area and then use a cotton swab to wipe away the excess. It doesn't always work, but it can be easier. I also decided I wanted the eyes to have a little bit of a glow, so I went over them too. But this is what it should roughly look like. There's some other parts of the armor that I want to have a brighter color as well, including the stripes. So for that I decided to use some Ortho Grey as a nice base. And just like with the armor trim, you gotta have some patience and take your time with this. And now to go over the stripes with the color I want, Bad Moon Yellow. And now to go over the other bits I want to glow a bit more sickly green, Tesseract Glow. And with all of that done, I switch back over to Leviathan Purple to clean up some of the edges and to make the eye shapes on the armor. And with all that ready, it's time for a little wash in some tasty Nuln Oil. Be careful not to get this on the yellow bits though, because it is a nightmare to redo. I just typically stick to all the parts that are not glowing. And that's how I paint my Thousand Suns. Thank you for sticking around this long if you did. And also, I highly recommend you go check out Gizmo Paints on Instagram, because he gave me a lot of the inspiration for this paint scheme. The ones I've done here are not the most well painted, but for getting them ready for tabletop, they'll do just fine. But, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content to come. And I'll see you in the next one.